Oh yeah.
John Science Corner.
No, wasn't there like science, bitch, or whatever?
Science.
And we all have about a 2 to 6% Neanderthal DNA.
Hell yeah.
Character's gone.
Correct. You die,
the
you
same way
delete your
hardcore works in
character.
Diablo.
And you die in
Yeah.
real life.
All right. Welcome to Born in the 80s, episode 477.
Thank you. I feel welcome.
I'm
to be
John,
here.
your host, joined by my interrupting co-host.
Moo. Matt.
I know what joke you're referring to, so I laughed,
Yes.
but you didn't mention the joke, so.
It's probably better that we don't. Mr. TJ
No,
is here as
no.
well.
So we did spend an hour and 10 minutes doing audio stuff, but we also 15 minutes of that was us playing mini golf in Discord instead of
Yes.
actually starting. So
Which is actually like a surprising amount of what you do when you're doing audio work. You
Yeah.
just play mini golf.
yeah,
People don't know that.
Matt does professional audio work.
We haven't gamed together until that in so long.
I like that you do professional audio work, but like I could say that as well, I guess, right? For my podcast.
I guess. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make money like the one that he works on does,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the same. It's the same type of work.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, and it's exactly the same for me because
Can you?
It
plug,
makes money.
Can you
I
plug
know
the
it makes
podcast
money.
that you work on.
Sure, it's the handyman hotline.
Handyman.
And I know it makes money because they tell me to put ads in it. But like I'm not involved in that end of things at all, so
I see,
I might as well be editing this show.
but you don't. For some reason,
No, because I
you have standards.
guess I don't enjoy listening to this show. Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm on it, but I'm not a fan.
I used to listen to the show even with being on it.
That's how the show works: is that you're a listener, and then you join it, and then you never listen to it again.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I am the wretched creator who listens to every episode because I edit it.
Hey, if you want me to edit one of the podcasts, I
No.
can probably do one. And I'm not good
Look,
at
we
it.
need people like you to groom the next generation of podcasters.
I don't
Groomers.
think we want to talk about grooming.
Anyway, but let's talk about the first part of the episode that is a standard feature, and that's called Drinks Check. And I brought a drink. I brought a special
Ooh.
drink that I bought at the grocery store like 4 weeks ago when we were going to
Nice.
record, and then we took a lot of
Now-
breaks.
I have questions about the spelling of that.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't.
Ooh la lemon.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how lemon is spelled Lemin.
Is it Italian?
No. It's manufactured for Ooh La Lemon, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
What?
All right, we've got this is a health drink. Filtered water, lemon juice, concentrate, natural flavors, citric acid, sucralose, 10% juice.
Okay, the sucralose, so there's nothing weird like monk fruit in it.
Funny that you bring that up because that was a segue that I was going to do off of this, but we'll get to
Okay.
it after we're done with Drinks Check.
That's fine.
So this has
I love a
sucralose in it.
good thing that's just labeled health drink.
Ooh,
Pungent?
the first smell is very pungent, like a sour lemon smell.
Okay.
It is not carbonated. It's like a sugar-free lemonade.
Okay.
It's not bad. That's all I can say about it. It's 15 calories in a tall boy can, 16-ounce can.
So
It
Where's that-
definitely has real lemon juice in it, though. Because I can
Where's-
feel the acid.
where's that going to fall on the patented Born in the 80s rating scale?
A 3 for now.
Okay.
It's
But
not...
look-
Sucralose does not have... Of the fake sugars, I don't think
It-
sucralose is particularly great.
It's Splenda. It's,
Yeah, it's fine. But it isn't trying to be super sweet, which I actually appreciate.
that's true.
It's just very lightly sweet because it's like... It's got 3 grams of
That's
carbs.
the one that makes you poop, right?
No, yeah, maybe. No.
Maybe.
Sucralose?
Wait, Olestra. That was one.
I thought that was a fat
That-
substitute.
Yeah, that's like a cooking oil.
I know, but
Yeah.
that was what
Sucralose
made
is
you poop.
the sugar substitute that
Yes.
makes you poop.
Uh-huh.
I think
Here we go. Let's see what
because
WebMD
it's all
has
up
to say.
in my coffee flavorings that I get.
Sucralose is Splenda.
Yep.
It is different than aspartame, which is equal, and saccharin, which is sweet and low.
Mhm.
And the difference is that sucralose is made from real sugar,
Yeah.
but it
it's
is
made from
chemically
sugarcane.
changed. Let's see here.
I think it's meant to pass through the body instead of being absorbed, but
Let's see here. Gut health? I don't know. Anyway, sucralose is fine.
for now, until we figure out the long-term effects.
Yeah.
I mean, we're only, 12 years into it?
Yeah, I was about to say, a lot of these sugar substitutes are very new. And that's what I'm going to talk about when we talk about monk fruit, which is another term. But TJ, you're drinking.
Yeah, I have two things to talk about, so I'll finish.
I also have a lemon Gatorade as well.
Okay, Matt, you go next because
Yeah, you have a real interesting thing.
This is not interesting, but I have an interesting thing to kind of finish it up with.
I have forage kombucha, the lemon ginger variety.
I think that's the kind I had when I had it.
That sounds good. Sounds really good. Lemon ginger is a nice mix.
Have you ever had
So what's
kombucha, TJ?
this forage
I've
place?
never had
Is this
kombucha.
I was surprised when this came in like a professional can and everything.
Yeah.
Is it like just a
Some-
local place?
I think it's a chain forage
Okay.
kitchen.
Something about the word kombucha makes me think there's hints of savory in it.
No.
No, it's okay.
So kombucha
Not
is
really. I mean, there's like a little bit of savory beeriness.
yes.
Okay, so a
So
little bit
kombucha's
of,
fermented, so
okay.
it's naturally sparkling.
I'm normally not super big on heavy ferment flavors,
Yeah.
but I would give it a shot.
I would say so. Depending on what style of kombucha you have, they go from like lightly sparkling, lightly sweet fruit things up
Mhm.
to you're drinking apple cider vinegar.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they can be very vinegary.
This seems light.
Yes.
This seems like
Okay.
Yes,
not.
that is a
difficult to
easy
drink.
drinkable.
I would imagine the ginger helps with that quite a bit.
So yeah, kombucha is actually something neat, and I've actually thought about like making it myself too because it's pretty easy. You just buy a live kombucha from like a grocery store, and they have the SCOBY, which is like a puck of bacteria that just floats
Okay.
in it, and then you just put that in your stuff that you're going to ferment, and then that bacteria, the puck, it's like a
they put,
sourdough starter.
Okay, yeah.
They put black tea in this too, so it's caffeinated.
Nice.
Oh, that sounds good.
Actually, sounds pretty nice.
Yeah.
Like a lemon ginger caffeinated drink. Much
Yeah.
more. You know what? Honestly, this really tastes like. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if you've ever had a Rockstar Recovery, the uncarbonated Rockstar, the 0-calorie Rockstar. This tastes just like the 0-calorie Rockstar Recovery lemonade, but there's no caffeine in it. I'm assuming because that probably also uses sucralose.
So, right now, I had this empty body armor fruit punch flavor because I drank this yesterday, and I just put some fruit punch Gatorade powder in it and made it about half strength. I didn't know it was half strength until I started drinking it, but I'm not gonna stop. More importantly, though, not the most recent gymnastics meet I had to bring my little one to, but the one before.
Uh-huh.
I stopped at a what kind of convenience store was it? But they had the Mountain Dew Purple Thunder, whatever it is, the one that's plum.
Oh yeah. What Circle K or something?
It might have been a Circle K, yeah.
Yes.
Um,
That's a very, very good flavor.
that is a great flavor. It's what I wish Pitch Black was more like.
Yes. That is exactly how I think we had this maybe
But-
last summer. I picked up a couple 20 ounces because we stopped at a Circle K on a drive back from Iowa for like a work meeting. And Yeah, it tastes like the original Pitch Black did, the first
It's about
version.
halfway between first and second,
Yeah.
because supposedly they're still using the first formula in the current Pitch Blacks.
Sure. It's very much more like berry than the Pitch Black is now. It's plum and blackberry, or no?
Oh,
yeah, it's
at least plum for sure. Yeah,
plum and black. A very good soda. I really do like the Mountain Dew Purple Thunder.
I had it from a fountain, which was nice. Yeah, I like my Mountain Dews from a fountain. I don't know why.
Fountain Dew fan.
Yeah, Fountain Dew.
So cool.
But otherwise, I've been, trying to not drink as much soda lately because it does a number on me. So
it's ruinous for your body.
What I'll do is I'll usually have something like a water or vitamin water, and if I've not been driving Uber as much, but if I ever do drive late, just make sure I'm hydrated, and then I have a 5-hour energy if I need the caffeine boost. But otherwise, I like to avoid even those too, because the caffeine, get those heart flutters every now and then.
Yeah,
and it's never fun.
Yeah, I've been dealing with that, and
welcome to getting old
recently. And it definitely is something that I think caffeine does to me. So I had to stop drinking coffee in the mornings as much because it's just they're called generally like a PVC or a PAC, just a premature contraction that makes your heart like double beat basically sometimes, totally and completely benign and safe, and it happens to everyone, but it is also uncomfortable.
Yes.
So it's like one of those things where you're like, yeah, I know that I'm not like going to die, but it is uncomfortable feeling. And that's now you start to understand. I was at a wedding this last weekend and I got a decaf coffee.
Yeah.
And I understand why people get decaf when they're older now. Because it was like 7:00 at a wedding and there were donuts as the dessert. And they had coffee, and I was like, I kind of want a coffee with my donut, but it's like 7. I don't want the caffeine right now. So I took I had to do a decaf. And it was fine, with the donut. I liked it. Anyway, so we were talking about sucralose.
Yeah.
This is John's Science Corner. So Mac at the Science Audio.
John's Science Corner.
No, wasn't there like Science, bitch? Or whatever?
Science. John, the science
Jesse
guy.
From
Science, bitch.
Breaking Bad, yeah.
Yeah, science.
So there was a study from Nature Medicine journal about the sweetener erythritol. Have you heard of erythritol?
No.
It is a sugar alcohol that is like 100 times sweet as regular sugar. It's naturally occurring. It occurs in the body. The body creates small amounts of erythritol when it breaks down sugars. It's not something crazy. But have you heard of monkfruit extract?
Yep.
That is erythritol.
It tastes gross.
That is the same thing. So this is a really popular sweetener in... and it's grown in popularity like crazy recently because of keto and keto diets. Yep. And so the reason why is because like even sucralose, like I had mentioned before, is created from sugar. So there are some carbs in it. So like this can of Ula Limon has 3 grams of carbs in it. Now if this was using erythritol, it would have 0 carbs in it because there's no carbs. So if you're doing that keto diet of trying to have 0 carbs, 0 sugar, all that stuff, but you want something sweet, a lot of people are like, monk fruit extract is good. It's natural. It comes from the plant monk fruit. So, that's cool. The study. I wish I could have the actual study up here because I would like to read but the Nature Medicine, of course, because it's, a science journal, you can't read it. Unless you pay $8 million.
You think it's on Google Scholar or no?
No, it actually. So there, I do have the PDF copy. I just clicked through and it gave it to me because somebody shared it on a subreddit and they paid for like sharing.
Okay.
I think or something like that. It just said like you've been given access. The artificial sweetener erythritol and cardiovascular event risk. So it's a very big study, abstract study. So we hear about studies all the time about food additives and things. Aspartame's gonna make you have diabetes and all these, like all the studies you see. So and when you hear about stuff like this, that it gets a headline saying like popular carb-free sweetener linked to heart attacks and strokes and stuff, and you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, but like, is it really? This study, I've read the study, the whole thing, through the paper. Yes, this is something to look into. Because of a lot of things that they found with it. So it's a really interesting study, and I'll go into the science of it. So, I'll say it. I'm not saying it like, oh my God, you're going to die if you're eating this stuff. Definitely not. But a lot of red flag alarms popped off on this that didn't pop off on some of those other articles you read. There's like, a lot of those other articles are, self-reporting of eating studies, people saying, oh, well, people who drink more diet sodas are more likely to have, diabetes and things. And it's like, well, is that just because people that are diabetic try and not drink sugar? So, stuff like that, that's really hard to control for. So this is beyond that. So I'll just read the abstract. We'll start with there. So artificial sweeteners are widely used sugar substitutes, but little is known about their long-term effects on cardiometabolic disease risks. Here we examine the commonly used sugar substitute erythritol and its oh my God. These are things I can read, but I cannot fucking atherothrombotic disease risk. It just means it just means your heart. Your arteries and your thrombotic is heart vessels, heart chambers. In initial untargeted metabolomics studies. Oh man, it's been a while since I've read papers like this. I mean, when's our 15-year college graduation? Isn't it this year for me? It is, I think. I'm old. In initial untargeted studies in patients undergoing cardiac risk assessments, N of 1,157 discovery cohort. So just to explain that, N is just the number of participants, and discovery cohort is the cohort means the group, subset of group, and discovery, of course, is where they discovered this initially. Circulating levels of multiple polyol sweeteners, so other sugar alcohols, especially erythritol, were associated with incident 3-year risk for major adverse cardiovascular events, including death or non-fatal myocardial infarction or stroke.
Ooh.
So they found this in the discovery cohort.
Suck.
Yes.
I mean, death sucks too. But...
Well, myocardial infarction is...
Yeah.
Yes. It's
the thing that
total
sucks
blockage.
about it is it sounds so fun.
You want to have an infarction.
Yeah.
It sounds fun. Subsequent targeted analysis in independent U.S. and N of 2,149 and European N of 833 validation cohorts. So they found 2 other subsets of people to compare to the discovery to validate it. Of stable patients undergoing elective cardiac evaluation confirmed this association. So they were able to confirm with a 95% confidence interval, which means statistically significant, basically. Yep. And that's what that means. Physiological levels, erythritol enhanced platelet activity in vitro. So in vitro means in a test tube. And thrombosis formation in vivo, which means in actual human studies. Yeah. Finally, in a prospective pilot intervention study, erythritol ingestion in healthy volunteers, and this is the part that is where I believe they need to do a lot more work, N equals 8. So they had 8 healthy volunteers who they had ingest 30 grams of erythritol. We'll get to that part of the study. And they had a marked and sustained greater than 2-day increase in plasma erythritol levels well above the thresholds of which they associated in vitro of heightened platelet activity and thrombosis. Basically, to say this, they had a bunch of people in the U.S., and they go into how they discovered this. And this is one of those fun science things that they found out that they discovered, basically. So they weren't looking for this. They had a group of 1,157 people who were age 55 to 72, average age 65,
Okay.
that they were looking at that were people that were already in for cardiac related health problems, basically. People that are at cardiac risk. And they're like, all right, let's look through let's get them worked up. You know what I mean? Let's look through everything they got. Let's see if we can find anything they have in common.
Yep.
And what they found in common was people that have erythritol, which is a 4-carbon sugar alcohol, which is used as a sugar substitute, also called monkfruit extract. It's naturally present in low amounts in vegetables, but when you use it as a sugar substitute, it's about 1,000 times higher concentration than it would be naturally. So it's very, for example, they found some pastry, keto pastry products where it's 60% of the weight of it is this erythritol. So it's being used a lot because it is much less potent as some of those. So the daily intake of erythritol in the total U.S. population has been estimated to reach up to 30 grams per day, and some participants based on people surveyed. So they're saying like 30 grams is a pretty normal amount if you're eating keto products, basically.
Yeah.
So erythritol is poorly metabolized. Your body doesn't break it down very much, so it sits around in your blood and then gets excreted out in the urine. It's 0 calorie, non-nutritive, natural, so it's very popular. It's doubled market share in the next 5 years predicted. But we don't know a lot about it. So red flag number 1, they weren't looking for this. This wasn't a study out to get erythritol. They were just looking for something, and this correlation just smacked them, basically. Like,
you're looking for commonalities between different lifestyle things, different symptoms.
Correct.
And there was a big correlation between people who had this lifestyle of erythritol, specifically in the bloodstream.
Yes.
Because
and that is the other kicker. This is not like a lot of the studies, people reporting what they're eating. They had blood drawn and levels of this.
This is a chemical they test for, yeah.
Correct. So they found it in people. So it isn't like, people reported that they eat that a lot. So what they're saying is that in the people that they tested, so that was across all 3 of the cohorts, somewhere just south of, just north of 4,000 people.
Yeah.
Statistically significant, if you had high levels of erythritol in your blood, you had a much higher risk of dying from a heart attack or getting a heart attack or a stroke. That's really bad.
Yeah.
Because there isn't there's no causative link, but they get into that. So the correlation is very strong, and it's not just, a reporting thing. It's like they found this chemical, and people with this chemical in their blood were more likely to die. And they believe at some point in this study, won't read the whole thing because it's extremely long, they liken its risk factor to equivalent to if, let's say, you're a healthy person and then you get diabetes. So if you have diabetes, you're more likely to have heart problems.
Yep.
If you have erythritol in your blood, you're equally as more likely to have health problems as someone who has diabetes.
That's significant.
It is significant. Or smoking.
Yeah.
It's not good. And so that's why I'm like, it may be a time to pump the brakes and start looking at labels. And if you are someone who's old, and so that is the big caveat I have to put with this. They were looking at people the youngest people they were looking at were 55.
Yep.
And all of these people were already at high risk for heart problems because they were coming in for cardiac evaluation workups. So this may be a situation like with a lot of foods and things. If you are someone who has heart problems, you shouldn't eat this because it could be dangerous. It's just like how if you are taking certain drugs, you can't eat certain types of food. You know, it's just how it is. You know what I mean? So that may be something that comes from this, is that they'll find out in healthy people there isn't a problem. But if you know you have these heart problems, you can't use this sugar substitute. Okay, so let's get to I don't really know the science of the mechanism of how this works, but they talk about it. But I guess they exposed erythritol to blood platelets in vivo, in vitro. I think they did both. Regardless,
Yeah,
they
they did
basically
both, yeah.
found that erythritol makes blood platelets stickier, more
Oh.
easily clotting, basically.
That's
Yes.
not good.
No. Clot formation is easier with erythritol because they don't have the causation. They don't have that yet, but so they don't know the mechanism of why this is happening. What they found was when they had erythritol in vivo in mice, they found clot rate and clot formation much higher. And then in vitro, not in mice, in a test tube,
Yep.
they had that problem. So anyway, I just thought I said that was really interesting. And so then they took that and they were like, okay, so this is a problem. Let's look at healthy people, because someone actually brought this up and they were like, well, yeah, but they're looking at sick people. Maybe they have a hard time breaking it down in their blood. No. So they looked at, but this is a small amount of people. This is 8 people they looked at. But they gave them a sugar sweetened drink with 30 grams of erythritol in it, which is comparable to a can of a commercially available artificially sweetened beverage or a pint of keto ice cream. Basically 30 grams isn't a ton. It's not a small amount of that, but let's say you're someone who's on the keto diet and you have, a keto muffin in the morning and you have a soda, and then you have that, you've gotten to 30 grams in a day. So they checked, the levels were low. And then after they ingested them, it was 1,000-fold higher erythritol in the blood. And that was substantially elevated for over 2 days. Notably, the elevation was remained well above the thresholds which they observed the clotting for 2 days. So even in healthy people, this high concentrations are still in the blood for a significant amount of time. So that's what they found. It was basically this, and it's crazy because when you think about this is and the problem with this is that it's a natural food extract. So people, and I went online because I was buying, I forget what it was. Oh, some protein shakes or something I was buying online because I'm going to try and drink some protein shakes in the morning instead of unhealthy breakfast. And they're like, this is why this is bad. You should use ours. And it was like 0 carbs monk fruit extract. And I'm like, man, this is the problem because people don't understand or think what they're ingesting is going to be unhealthy because, it's from a plant. It's from a plant concentrated 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Which changes significantly how your body is going to react to it. So that's the thing that I think is really concerning about this is that it's just one of those things that is really new. We're using it a lot more and in different ways than it had been used in the past. And it's concerning. So if you are someone who is doing keto and whatnot, I would highly suggest you look into how much monk fruit extract and erythritol are in your products. Unfortunately, I think if it's monk fruit extract, they don't actually list the grams or concentration of it. So you may need to reach out to the suppliers, but just be careful with what you're eating and look at the labels. And a lot more study is needed, but it's kind of a blockbuster to me. And in this case, and to me, I was saying personally, I'm looking at labels. I don't want that because it's an undue risk. There are other non-nutritive sweeteners out there than this. You know what I mean? Use stevia extract or sucralose or Splenda or aspartame instead of this.
Although I was looking up erythritol, and there is a stevia made with there's a stevia with erythritol as well. So
correct. We're using it to boost the sweetness of the stevia. Yeah, correct. Yeah. So I just thought it was interesting because it was one of those studies that you'll read a Time magazine article or something about, like, is this really that bad? And
signs point to yes.
Yeah, and it's really funny because I've been reading a lot of these articles with like the analysis, and people, they're just like, it's worth noting there's some limitations in this, and then but the person writing the article will be like, yeah, but I'm not going to eat it anymore. Like there's that's the thing, and that's why this is kind of a blockbuster, because the red flags that go off are, one, they weren't looking for this, they were looking for something, and this is what popped out. Two, they found it across multiple populations. There was 2 U.S. populations and a European population, so it's not just a U.S. people have heart problems thing. Yeah. 3, they did find at least a hypothesis for causation, with the blood clotting factor. Whether or not what the actual mechanism is, that needs to be understood. And the other one is that they found at least 8 healthy people. They need to do a much bigger study than 8 people. But in 8 healthy people, they found if you ingest erythritol, it stays in your blood for 2 days. So if you're someone who's doing the keto diet and you're eating, keto muffin, you're using keto like hamburger buns and whatever you're using, you could be walking around with a ton of this erythritol in your blood for a significant period of time. And it may be a situation where we find out, okay, in healthy people, the extra clotting factor doesn't really do much. But if you're someone who has a heart condition, that could be the little, extra kick that starts a massive chain of a heart attack or a stroke or something. So
and maybe you find out you have a heart condition and you start to make some big life changes and try to get healthy and you get on the keto diet.
That is, and thank you for bringing that up, because I was going to talk about that, but I didn't. But that is the other thing that really sucks about this, is because the products that use this are targeted at the people that have the highest risk. So like there are people more likely to use this because they're diabetic and they're like, well, I can't have sugar, so I'll use these sugar substitutes. And they're just basically doubling up on risk at this point.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Matt, did you want a ring light eventually? Is that what's going on? That balance?
No, I'm just playing. I need more foreground light. I know I need more foreground light.
That looks okay. You look better than TJ, who's looks like a blob on my screen.
Yeah, I'm looking like a blob on the stream too.
I
think that's
I never
upload right
really
now.
understand how exposure affects focus, and so I'm just going back and forth seeing what's going on with that. What's going on with that?
What's really funny is that what type of webcam do you have?
Me?
Logitech
Which
C920.
Is it the 720p?
Yeah.
I wish I could show you what mine looked like, and I was about to grab it, and then that would be stupid.
No, that doesn't work.
Let me show you the webcam. No, but so I got mine a long time ago, and mine actually looks pretty good on here. It's only 720p, but it looks pretty good. I guess I have the optimal lighting. I do have a light in front of me and a light behind me, so it's pretty equal.
I do want to get a cheap 1080p webcam eventually, because this laptop webcam doesn't do the trick half the time.
They're not too bad.
I started setting up this room with lighting, and I got like all the backlighting and the fill light done, and then I stopped, and I just didn't do any of the stuff that should be over here.
Well, I mean, what you got is
Matt,
better for
you
your
have the
display when
nicer
people walk in the
version than
room.
I have. You have the 1080p. I have the Logitech HD C310, which is the 720p one. It's $30 instead of 60 or 50.
You're $30.
I should get another webcam. Anyway, you know what's really sucks about webcams, Matt? I don't know if you have this problem, but like, it's sitting on top of my screen up here. There's no bezel anymore, so it covers up part of the screen. I don't know.
Really? I don't have. I have like about 3/4 inch bezel on my monitor.
On my old monitor, I had that, but my new monitor, there's literally like, I'd say, couple, like maybe half a centimeter.
Yeah.
5 millimeter bezel on this thing.
This one ViewSonic one I've got from my work, it's the same thing, has no bezel.
Yeah, so the webcam is covering up tabs when I have it on there. So I need to, I could just get a 3D printer. I could probably print a clip to go on the back here, and set the webcam on that. So, there's a project.
Do that, you coward.
I should. I'll get CAD out and not know how to use it and spend 2 hours trying to figure out how to click things, and then what's the Microsoft tool that I used?
Paint 3D?
No. Oh, what?
I think unless if you really want to learn like CAD style design, I think Blender's a lot easier to just pick up for random projects here and there.
No, I'm just trying to think of 3D Builder. It's called Microsoft 3D Builder. I've actually used it to 3D print stuff, and it's really cool. It's really basic, but I would definitely recommend trying it out if you have a 3D printer or that. It's like literally like Paint simplicity, drag and drop like shapes. But like for me, that was exactly what I needed to design the thing that I needed. It was like, I just need a cylinder that's this thickness and a square part that it attaches to that is this big, and it just worked for me. I made a couple ant farm accessory tube connector things with it. So that's me. I'm Ula Lemon influencer, John Danger.
Lululemon influencer.
I'm gonna end up dying of a myocardial infarction for drinking this.
So, Matt, what have you been up to these past
6 months between
6
episodes
months.
recording?
Yeah.
We were talking about the new year in the last episode that came out this week. It's March.
What have I been up to?
Major life events.
Major traumatic life events, yeah. Lots of. It's weird that like my full-time job right now is try and not freak out. So, that's fun.
Mental health is health.
Mm-hmm.
It's important. People don't know that, and I feel like I was a type of person who probably would have scoffed at that before 2020, when
It's
my
really
body
wild.
decided to remove all serotonin from my system.
Well, and like it's really wild to suddenly just lose control of your whole brain.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh man, like back in 2020 when I was having my panic attacks, probably pandemic related, I would assume, because it was a little early for that though, because it was like January 2020 before it was really a big deal.
Yeah.
So it was something else. But like I had like I don't know if you've ever had panic attacks like this where it's just like your mind is racing. Like I have like a million thoughts happening in my brain at the same time that I can't even think. That was crazy. Like waking up with like things popping into my brain so fast that I can't even remember them. Like it's like I don't have control over my mind right now. My body is freaking out so much. Like that is crazy, because I'm used to the panic attacks where I feel like I'm having a heart attack. But that was like
I'm just dealing with like physical symptoms mostly. Like, hey, maybe when I get a handle on things more, then I'll realize that there's also a bunch of like mental symptoms that I have to deal with. But like the physical symptoms are so loud right now. It's easy to focus on.
And it's something I didn't understand like back then, because I was like, anxiety's it's in your head. But like there's a point when you have anxiety to the point where it makes your body function wrong.
Your head's an organ too, though. Its health is important.
No, it is. But the thing is that like you don't understand this if you've not gone through it. But like there's a point when you have so much stress hormone and stuff in your body that your body isn't working right anymore.
I'm like physical therapizing myself, because I have basically all of my muscles have been clenched for God knows how long.
Yes. Oh, this is like in
Always
2020.
hungry,
This is
but
exactly
can't
what I was going through. I went to the doctor and I was like, I'm sore all the time. All my muscles hurt all the time, and I feel like I have this like buzzing feeling in my chest, and then I hurt my knee, and I realized I hurt my knee because I was twitching my foot so much that it was causing knee pain. That I was just like twitching my foot because of I was like, I didn't realize how like that physical toll anxiety can cause and stress on your body. And that seeing the therapists and stuff, they're like, yeah, that's what happens, man. Like when you get stressed that high, your body just breaks down. So it's physical as well as mental. So that I'm glad that you're feeling better.
Do you get this? Like I get this funny thing where if something's been locked up for a really long time and I finally am able to stretch it loose, it'll like twitch for a couple of days. I guess it like has to come back online or something.
Yeah, man. Like it's just crazy to me that like the physical. For me, one of the things that was really interesting is that I thought I was like having like metabolic problems and the hypochondria, because I was like, I'm hungry all the time, And every time after I eat something, I'm immediately hungry again. And then I went to the doctor, like, yeah, that's just cortisol. Like, when you are stressed, your body's like, need more energy to run. So you need to eat more always, so I can keep the anxiety fed, so that you are, because, like, you know, when you think about it, like, you know, they were talking to, like, you know, and this is something you hear a lot, is that doctors will say, the reason why you have anxiety is because it's that lizard brain back from when you were, you know, cavemen, and there was a saber-toothed tiger chasing you, and you needed to have your anxiety. And he was like, the mind racing stuff and the stuff that I would experience too, were like, for me, when I was having anxiety, like, things would be louder, you know, and like sounds would be very, I don't know, vivid and intense.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's because your body is like thinking, okay, how do I escape from this death?
Yeah.
But the death is me sitting in a crowded restaurant.
Your body sends signals to your shoulders and hip flexors to get ready to run and fight.
Uh-huh. And that's
apparently that's where most of the anxiety, stress physically manifests. And guess where I have like most of my muscle problems.
Uh-huh.
So like, yeah, there's a ton of stuff that just aches and pains that I thought were just, I am getting older. This is just what I'm going to have.
Uh-huh.
But they're going away now.
Yep. That's really interesting, because like, for me, I thought I was having all these health problems. And as soon as I started taking an SSRI, like a couple months in, and I was like, my body feels more normal now. I feel not sick. And that's because my brain is getting the correct level of chemicals that it wanted. Yeah, it's really important. Like, and I think it's really important to destigmatize mental health, because I think a lot of people struggle with mental health issues and then turn to alternatives like, you know, drugs and alcohol, because they help, but you should be using the drugs that don't cause really bad side effects like alcohol and other drugs.
Yeah. And while you're doing the drugs, you should also be doing the other stuff. So you're not just, because drugs are, they're fun and they'll mask it, but like also work on.
I'll tell you, I really do like my benzos. I'll tell you that. Where are my benzos at? My benzodiazepines, your Xanaxes, your Ativans. Those
yeah,
they're really nice.
Had that. I remember enjoying that when I had it.
For me, that was like, brain can't stop making thoughts and everything is exploding. Let's take an Ativan, and 30 minutes later, you're like, oh, I can go to sleep now.
Yeah.
Because my brain isn't like, constantly moving.
The beta blockers are that, but for physical symptoms.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, beta blockers are something.
They're fucking great.
They get. Yeah, the only problem with beta blockers is that they don't. You need to take them a lot, because they're not like a 1 pill a day kind of thing.
No, I do 3 pills. They seem to last about 4 hours.
Yes, that's usually what they recommend is 3 pills a day. And my brother's on beta blockers and stuff too. And it's just like one of those things that it's great when it works for you. I think beta blockers have more side effects than some other things. So I don't know. It's up to you and your doctor and how your body takes it, though. You know what I mean? Whatever works for you. to me, it's like life is hell. Whatever medical help you can get to make your body work right is important.
Yep.
You know, you get that cocktail that makes you a normal
get
person.
Both Xanax for when your mind is stressed, beta blockers for when your body is stressed.
Yeah. So, no, man. Like, I started taking a blood pressure medication. Did I talk about this on the podcast?
I don't remember your blood pressure medication yet.
No. Well, they'd recommended it to me because if you remember, the American Heart Association lowered the hypertension levels. It used to be like 140/90. And now if you're over 130/80, that's hypertension. So
130/80?
Yes.
That is not
You're
much.
supposed to be like 120/70.
I mean, it used to be 120/80.
Or maybe it's 120/90 or 130/90. But anyway, it's lower than it used to be. It used to be like, oh, if you're 140/90, that's hypertension. Now it's 130/85 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's.
But I think it's like consistent. You can't truly know that off of one reading. But...
Correct. But that's the thing, is that I also bought a blood pressure monitor too.
Yeah.
So I could take readings. That's fun. But I got to use my HSA for it, so it was basically free. By basically free, I had it taken out of my paycheck. to
Yep.
use for stuff like this. So, no, so yeah, and so I started taking amlodipine, and I had to stop taking it because I think it was causing heart arrhythmia in me.
Ooh,
It
yeah.
was causing more of the heart flutters than I think. So I stopped taking it. I'm still having it, but I've only been off it for a week. It takes a couple weeks to flush out your system because it's lipophilic, so it stores itself in fat cells. So we'll see. Otherwise, I might need to start taking it again. Maybe it's stress. You know, I might take the SSRIs again. I haven't decided. I got a re-prescription, but I haven't started again. I hate taking SSRIs because of you can't just stop taking them. You have to step down. And I hate the fact that I can't just you just got to be in it. You know what I mean? And I feel like if I can make it to the summer when it's not the cold winter and I'm starved of serotonin and vitamin D, that I can finally feel better. But I don't know. We'll see. So I've got my emergency pills, which is the benzodiazepines for when my body is like, you're dying. Anyway, so yeah, that's fun. I was off them for I stopped taking the SSRI last summer. It was good for a while. It really just seems like the fucking holidays time just ruins my body. So, yeah. Take drugs. They're really good. I used to be a person.
Just never stop. The lesson is never stop taking drugs.
That's the thing. Well, you want to take the right ones. Don't take the wrong ones. Take the right ones. Whatever they are for you. I'm not going to judge. But
yeah. Whatever chemicals you need to put into your meat computer to make it run correctly.
That's the thing that's so
fine.
neat when you're thinking about taking drugs is that like a lot of this shit, like for like SSRIs, it's not like you're taking a drug to like do something. It's a drug that makes it so your body just has more of its natural drug in it.
Yeah.
It makes it so the serotonin doesn't get eaten up as fast. So you have
The
more of it.
method that beta blockers work by is unknown. So it's entirely possible that it literally just like slows your heart rate down, and then your brain is so dumb it's like, oh, my heart's slow, I guess I might be calm.
Yeah. It's really funny about beta blockers. A lot of like performers will get them prescribed. Like
For
it's
stage
like,
fright.
yep, I'm gonna take this before I go out to do this concert. You know.
And I'll tell you, like, I haven't been playing a lot of music yet, but just through taking the beta blockers and undoing this like weird tension that's throughout my body, like, yeah, I feel really connected to my hands and fingers in a way that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be a way better guitarist than I ever was when I was trying really hard in college.
Oh, of course, yeah. It's so crazy just to think about how, you know, if our bodies suck at doing what we want them to. You know.
Well, they weren't made for what we do now.
That's the point right there.
Yeah.
Because our bodies were not made to be doing this. Our bodies were made to be sitting in trees looking for saber-toothed tigers.
Yeah.
And, you know, eating and fucking. That's what our bodies were made for.
Oh, we're not good at that either.
No.
And war.
But not thinking of and killing. But not like sitting around doing complex math.
Yeah, it only took having this to make us want to destroy other populations of humans.
Yeah. We need that thumb. That's what ruined us. Let's cut off everyone's thumbs.
And non-humans. We fuck up those Neanderthals and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're at the point in terms of, you know, prehistoric anthropology that the Neanderthals did intermix with us, and we all have about a 2 to 6% Neanderthal DNA.
Hell yeah.
There was some of that, but there was also
and they weren't. I mean,
Lovin and Warren.
And they weren't as, you know, savage and lack brain function compared to the hominids as we first thought.
Yeah, there's a lot of fascinating research about that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Anyway, moral of the story is, if you feel like shit and you're like having a lot of stress,
Talk to your
Talk to
doctor.
a doctor about it, because they could like give you drugs that'll make your body feel better because your mind feels better. And I think that was
Or-
the thing that I really learned.
Or have your body
that
feel
is-
better to make your mind feel better.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
what I'm also learning, like the extent to which I can improve my brain just by like doing things that are good for my body.
Yes. That's
This
another
is
good
a
point.
lesson people have been trying to teach me for like
Oh, yeah.
35 years.
Of course.
Mhm.
There'll be people are like, you should work out more because that'll make your body feel better. And
Mhm.
the answer is, when you work out more, you get more of those good body chemicals. Your brain gives you more of the good stuff.
And you use up anxiety chemicals. So if you happen
Yeah.
to have a bunch of extra cortisol or whatever, floating
Exactly.
around, it burns it up.
Yeah. So I've been on the recumbent bike a bunch now, watching dumbass YouTube videos. I need to use that time to catch up on like Mandalorian and Andor and stuff, but actually I can now because for some reason the old Roku in the basement did not like Disney Plus.
I
But-
think the only thing from the new, side Star Wars stuff that I even watched was what was it? Rogue One. I haven't
Really?
watched Solo. I haven't watched
Yeah.
any
Well,
Mandalorian.
you don't need to
No
worry about
Andor.
Solo.
No.
Yeah, you don't have to worry
no,
about most of it.
Actually,
no
Here's
Kenobi.
what
you should watch
like,
Solo just for Donald Glover.
No,
True.
but then it'll make you sad that he was so wasted on like how bad the rest. Of
I
the
don't know.
movie is.
I had enough fun with that I
I
was
still haven't
like,
watched episode 9.
don't. I did.
See, Han Solo, his last name is Solo because he was traveling alone.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
so what you're saying is instead of watching Solo, I should get Star Wars Connect and just do the
yes,
dance
do
mode.
the dance. I'm the Han Solo. Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm saying instead of watching any of the movies except Rogue One, which you've already seen, you said just watch Mandalorian and Boba Fett if you want to. Really,
I am almost caught up on Marvel.
Mm.
On all the weird Marvel stuff. I think I'm just like what is it, the werewolves one? And then
Werewolves?
Oh, and that's
Yeah.
just a one. That's like not
A
a
one-shot?
series. That's a one like
it's still there.
episode thing.
And then
So I'm saying it won't take like super long to watch, but it's
and
good.
then what is it? Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is now on Disney Plus, so I can get.
I think I'm
that.
out on Marvel. I'm gonna watch Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3, and I'm gonna be done.
If you didn't watch
Yeah.
She-Hulk, it's worth it. I like She-Hulk.
She-Hulk. Yeah.
I think the pandemic kind of killed the Marvel fan in me.
Actually, I also like Miss Marvel, but that's
I'm just here's what I've
thought-
learned. Is
I liked Miss Marvel, but I thought they tried to do way too much in one season.
I think Miss Marvel felt more like a Disney Channel original series, but
what I really
I-
liked.
I wanted it to be like the Spider-Man style,
Uh-huh.
just like hanging out locally for at least the first season. But in one season, you go from I've suddenly got superpowers to we're globetrotting and time traveling.
yeah.
What I've understood is that so I was never like into superhero comics as a kid. I actually didn't like them at all, to be honest. And then like all these Marvel movies came out, and I thought they were cool, and I got into them and I enjoyed them. And now that they've been going on for a while, I've understood is like I think I just kind of liked the characters and stories that existed in these, and now that they're expanding out, I'm not as connected anymore. I'm like, I think I
Mhm.
understand. It's too.
Yeah,
This
they've used up like all the characters that I was familiar with.
like we're at the point where it's like I don't know, man. Like when the last Guardians movie is done, I think I'm out because that's I think the end of that storyline as well. So
I think I'll keep watching Loki as long as they're gonna keep making new.
I do need to see that.
Series.
I have heard that's good, and
yeah.
I've already said they stole my D&D campaign idea.
Yeah, I think I'm more interested in smaller superhero stories. I don't need like the big save the universe stuff.
Hmm. I mean,
But I get that in Doom Patrol, so I guess
isn't Doom Patrol
I'm
done
good.
though?
It's on a break right now.
Oh, so
they're
it's
gonna
so
come
it's
back
done.
No, they're finishing out. It's a mid-season break right now, so
Uh-huh.
I don't know if they're done after this season or not. But
I'm just saying it's
There's
on
at least-
HBO, so they cancel everything. So,
That's
Oh,
true.
Yeah, pretty much.
so I do need to watch
But
Doom
it's
Patrol.
it's there's like 4 seasons. It's rewatchable. Pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's
It
why
has high points and low points, but it's currently, I think, at a high point again.
So I know life is a bit too much for all of us. What are you guys playing?
video games.
Yeah.
I played this game where it's. Have you heard of mini golf? But it's like it's not. It's like you're in a hell dimension of floating nothingness.
And there's power ups that you can
Geometry.
use.
No, I haven't really been playing anything, but I did because I started watching the new Mandalorian season, and then I got so excited I went back and watched a bunch of season 1 Mandalorian. I got excited and I bought the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order game.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I
I
think
have
got a
not
code
played
for
it
that.
yet.
I've got it somewhere.
I played. I had that too. I never played it. But I've heard it's good. I just
Yeah.
never played it.
Well, I just Googled like what is the most recent Star Wars game.
Yeah.
And there's I guess a sequel coming out like this month.
Yes, very soon. Well, for me, I've been playing mini games of the games I always play, and that is World of Warcraft: Wrath of the
The
Lich
game of
King
life.
Oh, you're playing
Classic.
jumping back forth between classic and or mostly doing
I
classic.
don't really play retail that much.
Okay.
I finished. I leveled up to max, and
And
I guess
you're
I
good.
could go in and play it, but I can't focus. I can't do 2 different
No.
MMOs at the same time. I have to pick, and the majority of my raiding experience has been in classic. So I'm definitely out though after Wrath of the Lich King Classic. That's my end point. I'm not doing Cataclysm Classic. Sorry.
What about
but-
WoW Classic?
So good point. So this is something that may interest
Is
you.
that a real thing?
Yeah, kind of. So this may interest you, Matt, and maybe Spanky as well. Maybe something we could play together, actually. World of Warcraft Classic has now created a whole new sub-community, and I'm sure they will release an update of Classic for this, I'm assuming. But you can go back on the Classic servers that we originally played on that are still open and exist, because they did a Season of Mastery where they opened up a seasonal server for a year and went through all of Classic again with some tweaks. Like, I think they increased boss difficulty in raids. They decreased the amount of world buffs that you could keep in raids. And they basically just tried to balance it a little bit to make it a little more challenging. Didn't go over great. I think it went over well. There were people that played it, but I think the community disappeared after a little while because it was just the same. What's really popped up is Hardcore Classic. So it's like Nuzlocke, but for World of Warcraft.
Oh, it's you die, your character's gone.
Correct. You die,
the
you
same way
delete your
hardcore works in
character.
Diablo.
And you die in
Yeah.
real life.
So you die, you
Oh.
delete your character. There's actually a bunch of rules, and it makes it a really fun and unique and interesting game that actually I really enjoy playing.
Oh, PvP.
There's no I'm on a PvE server. I'm sure you
Yes.
could do it on a PvP server. I
Oh,
would
that's
not trust
feels
that.
rough.
There are definitely people that try and kill you in PvP on a PvE server. There'll be high level people running around trying to like pull mobs into low level people. But so it's a dangerous world out there. But in hardcore, you die, you delete your character. There's an add-on built that does all of the tracking, so it like keeps you honest. There are full-on hardcore guilds that the add-on actually reports to the guild when you die, so everyone in the guild knows when someone dies, and you get real-time updates of guild members dying at certain levels and where and what killed them and
that's cool.
stuff. Yeah, it's really fun. Adds a real community, but the rules for hardcore is, yes, if you die, you delete your character. You are not allowed to use the auction house. You are not allowed to trade items. So you can only get what you find or craft. So
That's tough for me as a priest who wants wands. It's really hard to get good wands.
well, then what you have to do is become an enchanter so you can build your own wands.
Jeez.
So
Enchanting fucking sucks though.
it really really changes the game up, like in terms of how you play it. And it's added like a real fresh, like if people comment, like every time you get a green piece of gear, it's like, fuck yes, this is incredible. You know what I mean? And like, there's people in my guild that have been playing it and streaming it, and they've been doing like Wailing Caverns runs and Dead Mines runs, and they're like super like fucking high risk, because you fucking die. Like,
so in the weird realm of classic things and things, going back to how they started, there was a Pokemon Presents presentation this week.
Yeah.
And they're
Pokemon
re-released. Well, yeah,
a game I can excel at because I sleep a lot.
They're re-releasing Pokemon the Trading Card Game Classic.
Really?
Like old sets and stuff, but it's almost in like a super like high-end collector set that they're coming out with. Like your damage counters are these little cones that you stack on top of your thing, which is pretty cool.
But this is like the physical trading card game, yeah.
Physical trading card game, yeah.
Not like the
I mean, the Game Boy one is coming to Switch Online at some point. But
yeah,
I thought
that's happened.
I thought they were going to. Oh yeah, we haven't talked Game Boy and Game Boy Advance to Switch Online.
Yes, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Switch Online stuff. It's awesome.
You know what I'm surprised about? Why Link's Awakening was brought, because they have the Link's Awakening on Switch.
Yeah,
the remake. But no, it's like, if you got Switch Online, here you go. Let's play. It's the same game.
It's awesome. It's really awesome they've done it.
But
it's annoying
I swear,
that it took them like 5 years of the Switch existing for them to get to this.
I thought the Pokemon Presents was going to talk about, now that you know that Game Boy is here, we're going to bring the old ones, because we already told you that Pokemon Stadium's coming to N64, and that the old was going to.
They specifically said that they will not. Pokemon Stadium will not link to anything.
That's what it said. but that little because it was a disclaimer that was on the screen.
Got it.
That disclaimer has been taken off.
Really?
Yeah.
So maybe they are thinking of a way to work on it.
But at this point, we don't know anything.
Sure.
They didn't announce anything in the Pokemon Presents. They just talked about Pokemon Sleep. They talked about the DLC for Scarlet Violet, which I haven't bought either one yet because I haven't played Sword and Shield, so I don't care.
Yeah. It's at that point, like, I should probably finish playing games before I buy the new ones.
Yeah.
I get that. Other than World of Warcraft Classic, the other game I've been putting a bunch of hours into is Minecraft, of course, as always, because it's my forever game.
Are you and Spanky running a different set of mods now, or?
No, it's Spanky server's still up, but I started playing an old mod pack that I like called Regrowth. It's just a hardcore questing mod built around like rebuilding the world from like a desert, a forever desert. Anyway, it's a fun little mod pack all about like agriculture and stuff and farming and plants.
Rebuilding the world. You make me want to play Dark Cloud again.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
I never beat Dark Cloud.
Yeah, so like the world is completely barren, and then you have to like use all these different mods to get like cow spawning, and so now I have cows, and it's just like repopulating the world basically. It's kind of a fun little mod pack. But the other game I'm playing is a lot of Gunner Heat PC. Gunner Heat.
I've never heard of it.
Yes, no one's heard of this, but it's a great game. Let me read you the tagline here. Gunner Heat PC is a simulation game about modern mounted combat with special attention to authenticity and fun. It is a tank simulator game. And it's a really awesome balance of simulation versus like fun. So like the controls are fairly simple in the fact that you control the gun and the driving yourself, and you're all three positions at once basically in the tank, so there's no like difficulty in that. It's in modern-ish tanks. It's specifically built in they call it the Fulda Gap. I don't know if you know about like Cold War and NATO and Warsaw Pact history. from the.
Not really.
It takes place in 1985-ish. The developers have said, and so it's that era of tanks and Bradley fighting vehicles and BTRs and basically all the vehicles that exist in that time. And so the Fulda Gap is a part of Germany, where basically the NATO had determined if the Cold War were to turn hot, basically, and Russia were to start a war, they would attempt to capture the rest of Germany through the Fulda Gap. And so there were all these like scenarios built where like, okay, here's where we're going to put all of our tanks and all that. And so this is like the reimagining of what if that actually happened and this war started. So, yeah, it's just a tank game and it's really fun. And I really enjoy, ranging a Russian T-72 from, 2,000 feet, 2,000 meters or whatever.
You put it on your Steam Deck at all, or?
It does work on, it's playable on Steam Deck.
It is
yes.
playable, yeah. I don't know if you've been playing it on yours at all.
I haven't been playing on that, but actually now that I'm seeing, it looks like the community has put in some controller.
Okay.
It says it's playable now with a little eye. Before it was difficult, so it is. It sounds like to get it playable, you have to do a community created controller thing. But anyway, so it's really fun because I don't know if you ever want to look up, it's GHPC or Gunner, Heat, PC. Heat, of course, stands for
high energy athletic trajectory.
You were really close with the first one, which was correct.
High energy artillery trajectory?
No. Matt was correct and then got worse as time went on. So the first one's correct. High. It's high explosive anti-tank.
Okay.
So that's a type of round. Of course, but that's of course never the round that you're going to use when you're fighting another main battle tank because, of course, the armor is too thick for that. You only use heat rounds against APCs and other more lightly armored vehicles. What you use against another tank is what we like to call let me see if I can remember it exactly, an AP
armor piercing
DS APFDS
armor piercing.
No, APFSDS. That's it. I remember.
Armor piercing fire suppression.
Okay, your armor piercing is correct.
Okay.
Armor piercing fin stabilized discarding sabot.
Oh.
That is the type of round that tanks all use now. And this is all I got way into tanks over the break.
I think I played a bunch.
Because I played
the sabot is the thing that wraps around the projectile.
Correct.
Right? Okay, yeah, I understood that whole thing.
So I got way into tank stuff because I played a whole bunch of like a War Thunder and like the tank mode on that, but then that was like such a grind. And it's fun playing an online tank game with people, but it's also such a grind. It's like you remember playing like Counter-Strike, when you die you can't respawn. And so like it's fun, but then like sitting in a lobby, I want to just play a single player tank game where I can just drive around and shoot AI tanks. So armor piercing fin stabilized discarding sabot is what every major anti-tank round is now, and it's basically just a sabot, which is like a big, like, I don't even know what they're made out of. I'm assuming like some sort of cardboard styrofoam kind of thing, and inside it is the fin stabilizing armor piercing round. It's just basically a big ass metal dart made out of tungsten usually, or depleted uranium. It's an extremely dense piece of metal. It's just a big metal dart that they shoot. But they shoot them. The Challenger, the tanks that are going to Ukraine, the Challenger 2s, they actually have a rifled barrel. They still use sabots, but they don't fire as quickly because of the rifling. So they're better for heat rounds, which are a traditional like art shell basically that explodes, whereas the dart is just basically meant to just pierce through a tank like a fucking and so they fire at insane speeds, the sabot rounds. So it's just like a fucking lance of hot metal shooting through a tank and creating just this like perfect hole. The idea is that you pierce through, and that piercing through breaks off the armor inside, causing like flechettes of shrapnel, basically from the impact. Basically, I forget the damn terminology for it. I don't know. Anyways, there's just the metal that breaks off that shoots around and pings around inside the tank that kills people, basically. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of this tank game where you just ride around shooting other tanks, and it's fun, and it's just I'm loving it. And you get a real appreciation for the difference in technology between the NATO, the U.S. tanks, the Bradleys, and for the infantry vehicle, and then the what is it, the Abrams, the M1 Abrams, the very first version, and the fucking crazy technology they had even in 1985 for tanks, because like I'm so used to playing War Thunder, and I was stuck in like World War II, early Cold War era tanks, and like the fact that they have laser sighting, so like the Abrams and the T-72, the Russian high Abrams equivalent tank, has the same thing where you have a laser that shoots out of the barrel right next to the barrel, and it hits, you target, and then you can hit a button that will lock that range in, and then it automatically adjusts. So then you just put your reticle over what you want to die, and then you hit the button to designate that distance, and then it just does all the calculation for you and shoots the round so it's going to hit that exact spot at that range. And actually, the Abrams even has on their, it's a stabilized gun, so you can fire it while moving at full speed, and it still will keep that level. It's really cool because it moves independently of the suspension. Mm-hmm. And the other really cool thing about it is is that you can lead your target. So you can hold the ranging laser button and then move move with the target, and if you do that for like a second or two, it can adjust and catch what that speed is, and so when you fire it, it'll automatically lead the target for you. It's incredible. The T-72 doesn't have the automatic lead, so that it can't calculate that for you, so you just have to kind of aim in front of where you're firing, but it does have the automatic laser designator, and it's actually really neat to use the Russian T-72 because it's a completely different system, but it works kind of the same way. And it's really neat how, in that one, when you laser designate, you'll actually like laser designate, and then you'll see the aim like compensate for the distance on the reticle, and then you just fire where the dot is, and then the bullet will drop. It's really neat. Whereas the Abrams, you just get one little dot basically that you fire at, and it just automatically. It's really neat. It's a really fun game, and it's really easy to pick up. I think it's like $30.
$29.99 right now.
And it's the graphics are good enough, like better than other stuff, but not like incredible.
It's not bad for early access,
Oh, and it's very early access. I mean, they have a huge roadmap. They want eventually to have multiplayer. That's the last thing that they're working on. They want to add. They basically are just adding more vehicles and missions, and they want to add CAS, so CAS, which is close air support. So it'll be, because right now you can call in artillery strikes at certain positions on the map, but they want to be able to call like airstrikes in. So the U.S. will be able to call A-10 Warthogs in, and the Russians will be able to call like Frogfoots, Su-25s, or MiGs. So yeah, it's really neat. It's really fun. It's really kind of cool seeing this, like, and it's kind of the simulation community right now for like military sims like DCS. The Cold War era is kind of where it's at, because like the technology is good enough for it to be fast, but it's not like the point where it is now. Whereas like modern like flight simulator combat is all BVR, which is beyond visual range. It's just like, okay, I locked a guy from 20 miles away, fire a missile. Hopefully he doesn't dodge it. And if he does, I'll fire another one. And you never see each other. Whereas like the Cold War, they didn't have those long range missiles as much. It was mostly like heat seeking IR missiles where you physically had to have them in the reticle. You had to be within a few thousand feet of them to fire the missile. So that's kind of like the era that's been really exciting. I'm playing a lot of Gunner Heat PC. I put in like 10 hours in the last couple weeks. Which is, there's not a lot to it right now. There's like a campaign. It's just a bunch of randomly generated missions, and I'm starting to see a lot of repeats now. I played it through like 3 times, so it's like I'm kind of starving for more content. But there's something just satisfying about like hitting that like 2-mile distant tank shot and watching the turret pop off as the ammunition cooks off. Anyway, and it's fun to kill Russians because they suck.
Yeah, fuck those guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I don't know. I think we should probably just call it, right?
Yeah, let me just at least mention what I'm playing to the podcast because we talked about it before.
Well, you talked about Pokemon for a minute, but not exactly what you were playing.
I'm not really playing it, I'm playing the Final Fantasy music game that just came out on Switch. DH Rhythm, Final Bar Line.
So that was originally on a different... Was that 3DS originally?
3DS had the first 2 DH Rhythm games. The first one only having like 33 songs.
But it's like
everything was DLC.
It's like a rhythm game, though, right? Like
it's a rhythm game, yeah.
Like what type? Is it like a Wendon, kind of?
I mean, not exactly, because you don't... It's not like Osu or a Wendon, because you're not you're not trying to tap specific things on the screen. It is all like just button presses. Think almost like a 4-button rhythm game.
Sure.
But any button hits it. But there's also like slides and holds. Slides are just joystick directions, and holds are just holding the button down.
You know what I really had a hankering for when I was looking at it? Can we get some of those games? What are they called? What are those rhythm games on Nintendo? What are they called? What's that?
Oh, which ones?
The Nintendo rhythm games. Rhythm Heaven, thank you. Can we get those on fucking Switch, please?
The Rhythm Heaven community has been asking for a long time.
Because, like, that first one was like a Wii game and a Game Boy Advance game in Japan.
Game Boy Advance was the first one in Japan. Yeah. The one that came here first is the DS one.
Oh, yeah, and it was the
regular
title?
DS. Just Rhythm Heaven.
No, I know, but it was...
it was Rhythm
like...
Goku.
What was it? It was their, like, games for everyone. G-Touch series.
Oh, yeah.
It was like Rhythm Heaven. Touch Generations, that's it.
Yeah.
It was their, like, family-friendly brand, like, thing, but it's, like, a really weird rhythm game.
Yeah, third one was Rhythm Heaven Fever for the Wii, and then there was, at least in the US, it was digital only, but it did come out physical in Japan and Europe. It was Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix for the 3DS.
Okay.
Which had a lot of songs. Bunch of new ones, bunch of old ones.
Too, yeah, the 3DS one.
I like the 3DS one. Very well done. But nothing on the Switch. I don't see it coming. I really don't. It should. It should.
It's such a good game. I love those.
But you get items and your characters level up in your theater rhythm game. So I've been doing that. And then this week, Vampire Survivors is now on Game Pass, and that game is a hellhole that will suck you in.
I've seen it played.
Okay.
But I haven't played it.
I was about to say you should buy it on Steam because I think it's like $3 or something.
The regular price is $5.
Okay.
But
I think I bought it when it was early access last year, and I think it was $3 or something. I was like,
they're at a full 1.0 release.
You put thousands of hours in that game, and it is so addicting because just the numbers go up, but the numbers are you killing hordes of things on the screen better and better.
It's cookie clicker where all of your buttons is just joystick move.
You're just moving.
But it's just you keep getting more and more Castlevania style weapons that keep auto attacking, and then you keep getting more and more hordes of enemies that give you more experience.
How deep in are you?
Like I've unlocked like 9 or 10 characters now.
So you're significantly deep in.
I've gotten. I have the 4th actual level, and I think 2 bonus levels now.
You're about where I'm at too.
I haven't gotten a minute 31 achievement yet.
What's that?
Well, if you most of the main levels, once you get to 30 minutes, you'll have an insta death. Reaper.
I haven't done that either yet.
It's not true insta death.
No.
But you can't run from it. It moves instantly fast. You have to make sure that you have an ability that stops time for an enemy and hope it randomly procs.
Yes.
Because multiple of those Reapers will show up.
Yes.
And you have to stun them all.
Yeah. So That's
for
the
at least a
thing that
minute.
becomes the real bread and butter of the game, because you think like, oh, it's just like
But you can't kill them. You have to just stun them to last for another minute.
you get numbers that go up and whatnot, and then it becomes like picking, and it becomes like a random lottery game where you're picking upgrades that synergize with other upgrades, and you have like builds that you go towards, and it's so addicting, especially because like the longest a level can last is 30 minutes, so you can sit down and play.
You say actual 30 minutes, but every time you get an upgrade that slows down the time.
Sure.
Or
but
if
like
you get to a point
minutes.
If you get to a point that there's like 1,000 enemies on screen, I had to slow down where it seemed like every second was lasting 5.
So yeah, it gets pretty insane, but like it's nice because you can kind of just sit it and run, and then when you leave, you have like coins that you can use to upgrade your entire like ability sets. So it's just very, oh man, now you're talking about, I want to play it. It's a killer app on the Steam Deck.
Yeah,
like it was like the thing that everyone played.
It's actually a good mobile game too.
Yeah, that and I really want to play Cyberpunk now. Just because I have watched the Cyberpunk anime on Netflix.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
I've not watched it yet, no.
So,
Windrunners or whatever? Cyberpunk?
Edge Runners, yes.
Edge Runners. Yeah.
It is very good. It's Studio Trigger, who did like Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill. It looks incredible, and it's just makes me really want to play it.
I tried the Steam Deck app on my phone. I also got it. Oh, since the last time we've talked, I now have an upgraded phone.
What kind?
I no longer have an iPhone 7. I have an iPhone XS.
Oh, I don't know if that's like big.
Well, it's I think we jumped 3 years. Let's see, it went from 7 to 7S to 8 and 10 came up the same year, and then the 10S. So yeah, 3 years. We're still like 5 years behind in phones, but we just bought them outright. That way, we're not paying a monthly, an extra monthly fee.
Yeah.
It's the way to do it. We bought them refurbished.
I usually buy them outright too, and I wait for because when I bought this Galaxy S10, I think I bought it outright for $600 and it was on sale, and that's about what I don't want to pay more than that for a phone. So
$260.
Well, yeah,
$260 off eBay because we got that old. Yeah,
you can get them older even cheaper, but like for me, I was like, I don't want to spend a fucking $1,500 on a phone like the flagship phones cost think about. And I've heard some bad news about my wanting to switch to iPhone. It sounds like the USB-C iPhone will be coming out later this year, but they are going to have MFI requirements for cables and things to have.
I heard about that.
And MFI is made for iPod. Is what the term actually is, and it was the original. So Apple just wants to have people pay them to make cables and pay a royalty fee to Apple.
Yeah,
and that is bullshit. And it's also kind of, I don't know how they can get away with that, because I feel like the entire reason
I don't think they can in Europe
that the European Commission has said, you can't have a different charging standard, and you can't fucking have a monopoly over cables for your device, basically.
Yeah.
And that's why they're making this, but I guess in the US nobody's really pushed them on it. It just kind of sucks. I mean, we'll see. To me, is it a big deal? I don't know. I'll have one cable that fast charges. The 8 million other USB-C cables I have in the house will keep it charged, I guess. I don't know. It just pisses me off. It's like, Apple, come on, man. Come on. Fuck off. This is not like a safety thing. It's literally you just want fucking $5 for every $15 cable sold.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, I tried Steam Deck on my phone, and I played one of my Final Fantasy Pixel remasters that I bought when they first came out. I started Final Fantasy 3 just to try it out.
I didn't realize there was a Steam Deck app for the phone, so that streams off of your
Steam. It's just like the Steam Link.
Oh, got it.
It really, so it is using your computer power.
Yeah. I mean, you can do that with the Steam Deck device itself. Yeah, you can either play it locally or have it stream off of your gaming PC.
But no, that app's been around since I think the Steam Link has been around, or at least close to that. It's got good controller support, and now that I have both I have a grip for an Xbox controller and a grip for a PlayStation controller. It's whatever I have handy. but my upgraded phone means I can now use Switch controllers on my
Oh, nice.
on my iPhone, because they decided that you needed iOS 16 for that, and iPhone 7s did
not have that.
Yeah, they're still upgrading
cool.
15.
It is actually really neat how nice like phone and streaming gaming has become with like just the controller compatibility that all these companies have been like, yeah. Like Microsoft's like, yeah, it's just a Bluetooth controller. Like the PlayStation 4 and 5, it's a Bluetooth. You just connect it to your phone, you know, and the Switch ones are really cool because of the built-in rails on them, so you can like people have 3D printed a lot of phone cradles for Switch controllers because they just can use the built-in rail on the Switch controller to snap in.
But other than that, in terms of streaming from my phone, between streaming from my Steam, streaming from my Xbox, streaming from Cloud Game at Xbox, and streaming from PS4, I find that the Xbox streaming just tends to work better on the phone than any of the others.
I mean, they have the most architecture and development put into it. Would that make sense? The Xbox streaming is incredible.
Yeah,
I use it on my Steam Deck all the time, and it's crazy how good it works. Like,
I mean, whether I do it from the system or the cloud, it's good.
Yeah, and I would say you can play everything on it. Even I played racing games; they were fine. That I would say the only thing you probably would have a hard time with is maybe like a fighting game.
Yeah,
something where precise control input is timing based.
I wouldn't want to play Injustice,
or maybe like a rhythm game. Probably would also be kind of hard, but.
Well,
you could probably tweak the latency though, but then there's variability.
It's not consistent sometimes. Yeah.
Anyway, but it's worked really good. It's so much better than the PlayStation streaming.
Yeah. PS4 streaming sucks. I don't know if they did any
So
better
I
with the
downloaded.
5.
So you asked why I had a PS4 controller hooked up. I downloaded the PlayStation Plus app for PC.
Yeah.
It sucks ass.
Yeah.
So I was talking to someone online. I was like, man, I love how the Xbox app like exists where my saves cross over from my Xbox to my PC to my streaming, you know, on my phone so I can play. And they're like, oh, the PlayStation, you can stream stuff. And I was like, really? And I downloaded it and the app sucks.
Yes.
It doesn't work great. It's only PS4 games.
Yes.
Which is annoying. And they removed Spider-Man from it, like the PS4 version. And it's like, so this isn't even all of my classic games. The fucking ad for it had Ghost of Tsushima as the ad. Can't stream that game. It's like, what is this? And so I paid for the upgrade because you need to have the most expensive PlayStation Plus to be able to stream.
Yeah.
And they got it
extra?
out of me.
Yeah.
Because, well, prorated for a year, the difference between the one I paid for and that was $12. So I was like, I'll pay him $12. Like, because I want to try out this streaming.
I just re-upped my Essential. I don't think I'm going to upgrade to any of the other ones.
Yeah, so I only did it because I wanted to fuck around with the streaming, and it was $12, so I was like, why not? It's not great. The saves kind of transfer over. I was actually interested. I'll have to see with other older games, but like, so if you have PlayStation Plus cloud saves, they don't work on the streaming version automatically, but when you start up a game, it'll detect that you have cloud saves and it'll ask if you want to transfer the cloud saves over to streaming saves, which leads me to believe that it isn't going to be very seamless if you switch between them. So like I was like, oh, they have fucking Kingdom Hearts, which I was playing on PS4, but now I don't have my PS4 hooked up anymore. But if I wanted to stream that and play with you guys again, I could just do it over the PlayStation Now streaming or PlayStation Plus streaming. But I don't know if my saves are in the cloud. I may have to hook the PS4 back up again.
You might have to.
Like, it's just like, come on. Whereas the Xbox is fucking insane with the cloud saves. Yeah. I fucking booted up, I forget, some arcade game from like the Xbox 360, and it had my saves from like 2009. It's like, wow. Like, right there.
Was it something like a Castlevania Symphony of the Night, or
I think there was like a Kingdom for Keflings. I don't remember that. If you remember that, it was just like a little chill like city builder game.
Yeah,
had my save from like 2010, And I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah,
like they just have that for me.
The second the 360 lets you do cloud saves, I made sure to move everything to cloud saves and default to that, and everything I have is just right there.
It's incredible
so nice.
that they've done that. Where like they have over a decade of my saves saved, and it's really neat to like just load up a game and be like, shit, there's a save for this. And I'm like, oh shit, I played this a decade ago on my 360, but it's all uploaded.
I never got around to playing Final Fantasy 13 when it came on the Game Pass. It's already off, but if I did, my save would be there because I played 13 on the
so neat.
Xbox.
The PlayStation does it pretty good though, because if you have a save on a PlayStation 4 and then you download the game on PlayStation 5, the cloud save will pull right over. Like it's
my issue. My issue is I'm sharing my account, and my main system is my nephew's PS5. So I can't auto backup cloud saves. I have to manually back up.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's one of the things that Microsoft has done really well is that they just have it's seamless. Your save is just everywhere.
But if we're going to do Kingdom Hearts from the get-go, I might start it up again on PC because I did buy the 1.5, 2.5 there. But I also might do that for randomizers because there's the Kingdom Hearts 2 randomizer community. And it's apparently really easy to do.
Yeah. I feel like we should probably do another, and maybe we can get Matt in on this and Spanky at some weekend. Let's do another bingo.
Yeah, bingo is fun.
Pokemon, what was it, Gold?
We were doing Crystal. But
Crystal, whatever, yeah. That era bingo was really fun.
Bingo.
Bingo.
Yeah. We have a shared bingo card, and whoever like makes 3 bingos first wins based on either Pokemon caught or having a certain move or catching a certain number of Pokemon.
What was the South Park The Stick of Truth on? Was that a PlayStation 3 game?
Originally, yeah. That was a PS3,
I was like,
360.
So I was looking into that because I was like...
And then they remastered it later for PS4.
Yeah, so
Xbox
I was
One.
looking into that. I was like, oh, I never finished that. I should finish that. And I loaded up and it didn't have my save. But then I was like, I bet I played this on PS3. And them not having PS3 saves... I'm not so worried. You know, the 360 saves transferred, but not having a PS3, it's a PS4 version probably. I was like, okay, that's fine.
And even that wouldn't have transferred Xbox 360, Xbox One because they consider them different games between that and the remaster.
Yeah, because it was the remaster as well. But like for me, all right, Kingdom Hearts. I want to try and launch Kingdom Hearts and see if it has my save because that would be kind of neat.
While you're doing, we can wrap up the podcast.
Oh yeah, we're done.
I forgot we were.
I was playing Bug Snacks as well. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. I haven't played it yet.
It's on Game Pass, and I think it's on the PlayStation Plus as well.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye.
Bye. You can't find me on Twitch, Twitter anymore.
It's